So in this video, we're going to cover using some online tools to do research on the real estate market, in particular if you're trying to buy a home. So we're going to start by looking at Redfin. And so when you go to Redfin, you're going to see kind of this opening screen. It has basically the main thing that we're going to talk about in this video is if you're looking for a home. So it has some stuff about if you're trying to sell a home. They're trying to entice you to list your property with them. But in this case, we're looking to find a home. So let's look in Sacramento. So if we search here, it's going to take us to this view. So you see that there's a kind of outline here that they automatically put in for, the core Sacramento area. And they'll do this for other cities too. So we can go to, let's say, Fremont. And so again, you see here that they've created an outline here and have all the properties in Fremont. If you don't want this outline, you can remove it, and then you can see here there's another city here, Newark. So just added all this stuff. So now it's kind of just like a map search. Let's say now you kind of know what area in Fremont you want to buy in. Let's say we're looking in Warm Springs. Okay, so we see the Warm Springs district is basically from Warren Avenue here through this Dixon Road. So if we wanted to just search property in this particular neighborhood, one thing you can do is just search, and then it will again place the border here. So Redfin is pretty good about just having neighborhoods. So like in Sacramento, there's Land Park. So see, it's a particular neighborhood. So Redfin is a pretty intuitive tool to kind of use to do these searches. So let's go back. Let's do Warm Springs again. So let's say you've done your research on neighborhoods and you've decided that Warm Springs is the neighborhood you want to look in. If you see here, it has a bunch of listings. Okay, so not all the listings are going to be of interest to us because we're going to have specific other kind of requirements. So for example, if we're only looking for 3 bedrooms, we don't want to get four. So it's going to assume that you basically there's a minimum. But let's say we want anything under 3 bedrooms, or actually let's assume we just want 3 bedrooms. So you kind of have to mess around with this, double click on it, and then let's say we want at least 2 bathrooms. Okay, so now we've done these filters. Let's just actually look at all the filters. So um, we have price also. You can scroll this. In this case, there's actually not that many listings. But let's say there's a maximum price. Let's say we wanted to only pay $1 million or less. We can just leave this. But you can kind of see here this distribution. There's only a few listings, and so we've excluded one. It looks like only one listing by changing the price. And then house type. So a house is like a standalone single family house. A townhouse is basically it's like you're sharing a wall with another homeowner. So it is like a house, but you're sharing a wall. And typically there's very little of a lot or no lot at all that you own specifically for your property. A condo is a unit in a larger building. So you're going to be sharing multiple walls. You can also just look for land on Redfin. Multifamily is like if you're trying to buy a duplex or a triplex or a fourplex or even more units than that. That's what multifamily means. A mobile home. So in certain markets, even in Fremont, actually, I know there's mobile home parks. So there's mobile home. Co-op you're not really going to deal with, and other, you're probably not going to have to use this. This is for like maybe there's some commercial property or something that's on Redfin, but you're typically not going to use these two. So just don't worry about that. So let's say we want to just look at houses. Oh, looks like there's no house. So we're going to have to basically. Oh, okay. So it looks like there's only condos that are going to fit in our price range. Because I could see here, like when I did house, there's no matches. You can see it here. So that's when I added. If I add condos, it looks like for under $1 million, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, there's only condos available. And then status, is coming soon are active. So these are active listings. You can also add pending. So it looks like there's one house pending because it went from two to three. And then you can basically sort by square footage. So if there was a minimum, this is typically the one you're going to use. Let's say we wanted a minimum of 1,200 square feet. It looks like there's only one house, so they're pretty small. So let's just go to 1,000. So it looks like the 1,000 there. Each of these units is going to be over 1,000 square feet. And if you had like a minimum lot size, I'm not going to do this because I know they're condos and they're not going to have lots. When we click on the actual listings, we'll see how they listed the lot size. But condos typically don't have lots. So let's see what the situation is when we actually look. Okay, and then there are some retirement communities. So if you wanted to exclude those, you could click here. The garage. So you can specify if you want at least a two-car garage. Pool, and then there's a bunch of things here. I would maybe not mess with this because the listing has to include the information on this. So there could be a fireplace, but the listing maybe did not say that it explicitly has a fireplace. So if you clicked on this, you may exclude a property that actually does have a fireplace, but it just wasn't explicitly stated in the listing. So I don't know. These are maybe if you have a bunch of matches, maybe you can use these to narrow down. But I would maybe be careful with using these because you might exclude properties that you didn't mean to exclude. Okay, so HOA. So this is the homeowners association. So this is typically only with townhouses and condos. Some single family homes, if you live, for example, in a neighborhood that does the front landscaping of the property, there may be a homeowners association fee because just to kind of maintain the look and feel of the neighborhood, the HOA kind of pays for front yard landscaping for everybody and then will charge the homeowners for that. But typically it's for condos and townhouses where there's shared walls and infrastructure and roofing so there is a fee that's charged by the homeowners association to kind of pay for the shared expenses. Like if you had to re-roof a building, since it's shared by multiple homeowners, it would be hard for them to individually coordinate with each other. So the HOA just kind of does that on the behalf of all the homeowners and collects fees every month and then kind of does these projects like re-roofing, painting, common area landscaping. And so that's kind of what you get for the HOA fee. Okay, and then it looks like there's some other stuff with the schools. You can kind of change the ranking if you wanted to do that. And then listing type, I would not. I would just leave it as is here. You want to kind of include all these options, and then walk score. You can kind of mess with this if you want to find a certain walkability of properties. But I don't know. I would recommend just going broad, having less filters, just on the basic stuff that you want, and then just excluding stuff after you get matches. Because you can see even with the kind of minimal number of filters we have, we only have three houses that fit. So let's do the search. Okay, so it comes up here on the right hand side and also on the map. So you can see they're all kind of in this neighborhood here, and it looks like it's a condo development. And so let's just click on one of the listings here. And so let's talk about the different elements of when you click on the specific property. So on the top, you're going to have pictures, which you can click on. And you can see kind of what the property looks like inside the pictures. So this looks like a really nice property. They fixed it up and kind of staged it and made it look good. Okay, so what are the important details here? So we have the address, the price. This is the list price. And Redfin does something nice. It basically gives you an estimate of the per month cost to own this property. And I'll show you further down the page what the assumptions are. But this is kind of a nice check on the affordability for you. If you can afford $4,400 a month, that can probably get you into this place. And of course, the bedroom bathroom count, the how big the place is, the square feet. So Redfin also has an estimator for what properties they think are going to sell quickly. So this is kind of their expectation that it's going to sell soon. How accurate this is, I have not really tracked, so you know, not sure. There are also ways that you can view the property here. I have not really messed with this. I think if you have a realtor, they can arrange kind of the showing. Um, okay, so this is probably a lead generation, honestly, for Redfin agents. You probably sign up to view it if you don't have an agent, and they will try to line you up with a Redfin agent to help you do it. So if you have your own realtor, you don't really have to mess with this. Okay, so about this home, so you're gonna have a description of the house. Some important information here is the listing agent. So in the video I made on kind of buying real estate, I talk about how the brokerage works and the commissions and stuff. So this is where the listing agent is listed. So this is a person, a real estate agent who's representing the owner of the property and is basically the person who's putting this property up on this system called MLS that shows that the property is for sale. So this is the kind of this is going to be the person that you're going to have to deal with when kind of finding out about the property, negotiating price, etc. Okay, so it has some more facts about the house. So the status, so this is like the listing status. So this is a new listing. It's been on the market only for 6 days. So I don't know exactly when they go from new to just active, but it's obviously longer than 6 days. So it's still, kind of just hit the market. It is a condo. It is built in 1987. The lot size, since it's a condo, you're not going to have a lot of your own. So I would just kind of, that's something from experience. You just know that condos don't typically have lots. And this seems like very large. It's just unreasonable. This is for like this is a large lot for just a single family home. So I don't know exactly where they're pulling this number and what it represents, but I would just be skeptical of this. The HOA, so this is in addition to your mortgage and property insurance and all that. This is how much the homeowners association is going to charge you per month. And for condos and townhouses, this is a really important number to pay attention to because it actually varies quite a bit. The community it's in, the MLS number. So this is just basically the system called MLS where properties are listed to be sold. And Redfin basically just takes listings from the MLS and puts it onto their website. Okay, so the list prices here. Redfin gives you an estimate. Zillow is another website that gives estimates of what they think the property is worth. So according to Redfin, it's worth much more than the list price. I would be skeptical of these estimates. I would actually look at the sold comps and also get a feel of the current market because the market does change and the Redfin and Zillow estimates are based on historical, situation and it may have changed. So this might be a stale number. Estimated monthly payments, I'll show you this below, but it's the same number that we saw kind of near the top. And then price per square foot, this is an important metric because it basically takes into account both the list price and the size of the property, and it breaks it down into a metric so that you can compare, a 1,200 square foot property against an 1,140 square foot property, because they're different sizes. So how do you kind of adjust for that? You take the price and you divide by the size, and that gives you a per square foot number so that you can compare properties of different sizes. Okay, so this is kind of a lead generation for Redfin. They want you to link up with Chloe, and she can represent you to buy this property. So this is kind of their business model, basically. Okay, so this is the payment calculator. So this is how they got the estimated payment per month. So what it is assuming is a couple of things. So it assumes a down payment. So you can change this. If you are planning on putting more down or less, it will change the cost because if you put more down, you're going to have a smaller mortgage. So you see the cost go down here. So you see it dropped from 4,400 or whatever it was to 3,200. But then we have to put up much more money up front. So we went from putting 159,000 and you see it's 4,400 because again the mortgage is much more. And if you put 50% down, you have to put up 400,000, but your payment drops a lot because you're having to take out a much smaller mortgage. And so it also has some details on the loan, so you could change this too. Like if the interest rates have gone up, you can change this to, let's say it's 4.5% now. And if you wanted a 15-year, so you could change the terms of the mortgage, and that's going to obviously change your payment too. So you see, I changed the interest rate, the payment went up because the interest rate is now higher. So in this way, it has the HOA due, which we saw above is 350. It estimates the property tax because the property tax is around in California around 1.1% of the purchase price or your cost basis. And then it estimates how much you'd pay for insurance, and it adds all this up to give you your monthly payment estimate. So it's a pretty handy tool. And of course, you can customize all this stuff if you wanted to change. So let's say you're going to offer actually not 799, 900, which is the list price. You're going to go over and you're going to bid 820. So then, you could alter this and it would change your payment and our monthly expenditure accordingly. Okay, open house. So it lists if there's open houses, and it looks like there's none. You'd have to basically have an agent, and the agent could give you access to view the property. And then, yeah, so that's pretty much it. There's more details down here. These are actually pretty helpful. So, like, it tells you it has one garage space. It tells you the name of the HOA, HOA phone number. So, if you had any questions specifically about the HOA, it says what the HOA covers. So it covers common area maintenance, exterior maintenance, management fee, reserves, and insurance. So you may have a question on what kind of insurance coverage the HOA provides. You could call the HOA and find out. School information, it doesn't tell you. You'd have to call the school district. And it just gives you more information on the interior features. So this section is actually pretty important and has a lot of important information. One kind of detail, some HOAs have a max number of tenant occupied properties that can be in the complex. So if you're buying a condo for an investment, for example, this number here, what percentage of owner occupied, is important because if it's too low, you may not be able to have your unit as a rental. So what this would require you to do is call the HOA and ask if they have any restrictions on rental units and what the minimum owner occupied percentage needs to be. And then you can see it's on the second floor. So yeah, there's good information here. This section is worth paying attention to. And then this section is cool too because it gives a history of the property. So you can see the last time it was sold. It sold in 2012 for 421,000, and now 10 years later, it's kind of almost doubled in price. And now we have also information on the schools. This, especially if you're buying the property, I would double check just to make sure that this is picking up the boundaries correctly and that this property is actually in the right kind of school district. So yeah, it gives you information on the schools, walkability score, transit score, and this stuff is, yeah, I mean, this is worth looking at, the flood risk, storm risk, and then it just gives you, it looks like some comps here for sold, like previously sold properties that are similar. But we're gonna do I'll show you how to do that as a separate search. Okay, so yeah, so that's, I think, the major sections of the Redfin kind of looking at listings. So if you wanted to actually look at sold comps, so things that have sold in the area, you can do this, and you can see a couple just popped up, and you can probably if you only see one, that's a good one. Maybe you want to go back further. So 3 months is the default, but maybe you're gonna have to go back further. And once I did that, you can see a couple more popped up here. So let's just see what sold in the last 6 months. And so you see we have four, and they're a different color. The actives are in green. These sold comps are in this kind of bluish color. And so you see all the properties here. And so what you should do, and actually Redfin does not make this easy. You can't just download the information on these. You have to go through them individually. And what you can do is populate a spreadsheet. And so let's see what the spreadsheet could look like. Okay, so this is a spreadsheet that has some fields, I think, that could be a good starting point for you to make your own spreadsheet. Let me just go through all the fields here, and then I can show you just an example of populating it. So we have the MLS number, the listing date, so when the property was put on the market, what the status is. So, if you're looking at a mix of active and pending and sold properties, then just keeping track of what property is in what status is important. And then the status date. So typically we'd only populate these for sold property because we're going to have the date that it's listed. So an active listing, for example, the listing date and the status date are going to be the same. So it's just redundant. But if you had a property that's sold, maybe it was listed 6 months ago and then it sold, a month later. So knowing how long is on the market will be of value. So, kind of the status date for a sold property would be the day it got sold. The days on market, that's what DOM stands for. The property address, the city it's in, the zip code, the list price, and the sale price. So the list price for active listings we're going to know, but we're not going to obviously know the sale price because it hasn't sold yet. But for the properties that we have in our comps that are sold, we'll have what it was listed for and also what it sold for. And then the building type. So if you have detached, that's what this DE stands for here. You could have condo, townhouse, TH. So you can have CO, TH, DE. This is the size of the property, the number of bedrooms, the number of bathrooms, the number of partial bathrooms. So if it was a 3 bedroom, 2.5 bath, it would look like 3 bedroom, two, and then one partial bathroom. Garage space. So this could be 0 if there is just like, no garage, up to, whatever, 3, 2. 2 is going to be the typical. So you put the number of garage spaces, the year the property was built, and then the lot square footage. So between these, you're going to have covered the major kind of information that you're going to need to do your analysis. So let's save the analysis for another video. This video's already gone pretty long, so I'm going to just cut it here and then pick up with the analysis in the next video.